In 2008, scientists filmed fruit flies escaping from a fake predator in slow motion, and what they found was strangely impressive. A fly doesn't just randomly panic when something comes toward it. It sees the threat, calculates where it's coming from, adjusts its tiny legs, shifts its body, and prepares to jump in the opposite direction. Before it even takes off, it has already made a plan, which means that flies are way better at math than I am. Math is hard. But it also means that this question that people have been asking feels even stranger. And that is that flies don't seem the same anymore. At least, not always. 20 years ago, a fly in the house felt like a full afternoon commitment. You would chase it from the kitchen to the living room, miss it 6 times, and eventually begin questioning your own place in the food chain. Now, sometimes a fly just sits there. You walk toward it, it just keeps rubbing its little hands together. You go to whack it, it just lets you. No chase, no aerial battle, no dramatic escape sequence. So have flies gotten dumber? The answer is probably no, at least not in the sense that we're thinking. There is no good evidence that flies are becoming less intelligent across generations. They are likely not forgetting how to be flies. But the fact that people are noticing this is interesting, and there are a few possibilities. There's a modern suspect in this tiny crime scene: LED lights. For most of human history, insects navigated a world lit by the sun, the moon, fire, and eventually a few very warm, very inefficient bulbs. Then, almost overnight in evolutionary terms, humans filled porches, kitchens, streets, garages, barns, and windows with bright, artificial light. Insects are often especially sensitive to ultraviolet and shorter blue-green wavelengths, which is why fly traps frequently use UV light to lure them in. It's not because flies saw a purple lamp and thought, "I love lamp." It's because their visual systems are tuned to certain parts of the light spectrum. Modern LEDs complicate this. Not all, but many bright white LEDs are rich in blue light, and blue-heavy artificial light can confuse or attract different kinds of flying insects. So LEDs could change the kind of bugs in how exhausted, disoriented, and trapped they are. And this may be contributing to the dumbness. A fly that has spent hours circling a porch light or trying to follow a light source that makes no sense to its nervous system is not exactly entering your kitchen at peak performance. It may not be dumber. It may be visually scrambled by a world full of fake moons and fake daylight that it evolutionarily couldn't keep up with. Which is a little unfair, really. We changed the sky and then judged them for being confused by it. There's also the pesticide question. Modern insects live in a world full of chemical pressures. In some cases, insects evolve resistance to pesticides, which means their survivors are actually harder to kill chemically. But individual flies exposed to sublethal amounts of pesticides may behave weirdly. Slower movement, poor coordination, less likelihood to escape. And then there's the possibility that there may just be fewer bugs around. Over the last few decades, scientists have raised alarms over insect decline. There's actually this thing called the windshield phenomenon, where people remember car windshields being covered in bugs after long drives, while now they often stay surprisingly clean. That memory is not perfect, but it points to something real. In some regions, flying insect biomass has dropped significantly. So when we ask why flies seem different, we may be catching a tiny piece of a much bigger environmental shift. The old world was buggier. There were more insects, more encounters, more chances to meet the fast ones. If insect populations change, if habitats change, if the mix of species around our homes change, then the average fly experience might change too. There's also the boring factor that some species of flies are just dopier. Take cluster flies, for example. They're like the stoners of the fly world. But still, the observation isn't ridiculous. That's what makes this topic so good. A fly evolved to escape predators, navigate air currents, find food, and avoid danger. It did not evolve to understand windows, LED lights, or constant pesticides. So maybe flies aren't getting dumber. Maybe we just built a world that makes them seem dumber. And underneath this is a bigger idea. The animals around us aren't just animals. They're little measurements of the world we created. When they change, it makes us wonder what else has changed without us noticing. In the grand scheme of things, a fly is just a flying, buzzing question mark. A little piece of the past hitting the glass of the present and failing to understand why it can't get through. And maybe flies aren't the only ones. Liked what your weird brain just learned? Hit subscribe. If not, that's okay. We're all just tiny brains trying to understand the glass.